Crazy Sea Stories. Eyes behind the glass. The first thing they took from me was my phone. The second was my name. "Calm down, rookie," the orderly barked as they pinned my arms. It's just the goggles. Standard behavior analysis tech helps us monitor your episodes. Episodes? I didn't even remember arriving here. The walls looked like someone smeared red finger paint everywhere, except I knew damn well it wasn't paint. They slapped the VR-looking headset on me, tightening the straps until the world became tinted blue. I saw my own reflection faintly, pupils stretched wide, like I'd seen God break into my bedroom at night. The radio heater next to me hissed like it was breathing. Then, zero. "Welcome to Crescent Pines Mental Health Facility." A pre-recorded voice crackled in my ears. 9. Please remain calm. We are watching. That last part wasn't part of the recording. Someone whispered it. Right next to my ear. They shoved me into a room that smelled like wet rust and fear. 3 other patients stared at me, each wearing identical goggles. Their heads twitched toward every sound like broken animatronics. One of them, a skinny guy with a neck tattoo of a crow, leaned close. "You see it yet?" His breath smelled like copper coins. "See what?" I asked. He just giggled, sounding way too excited for a guy in a padded hellhole. "The wall crawlers," he whispered. "They only look real once the glass adjusts to your fear." I laughed it off. Bad move. Because the walls started to move. A long black shape oozed downward, limbs like tangled wires, fingers scraping, leaving behind streaks that hissed like acid. It clung to the ceiling like a spider that decided gravity was optional. Crow's Neck smiled. "Told ya." The medic lights flickered. The dripping sounds got faster. Something was scribbled across the far wall. "We want you awake." My heart hammered as the creature leaned from the ceiling, its face a glitchy mess like a corrupted file. The goggles vibrated, forcing my eyes wide open. Crow's Neck grabbed my shoulders. "They feed on what you won't look at." Another patient, a woman with messy brown hair, screamed, "Don't take the goggles off or they come inside." The black thing's limbs stretched toward me. Slow, deliberate. A hungry kind of slow. I clawed at the straps anyway. Suddenly alarms went off. Orderlies stormed in like riot police. "Contain that one. Patient spiking. He's seeing Tier 5 visuals." Tier 5? Excuse me? They forced a needle into my neck, and the world doubled, then tripled. Layers of reality peeling back like a rotten onion. The crawlers multiplied, dozens of them. Skittering, laughing. The orderly whispered harshly, "You weren't supposed to progress this fast." Then he looked scared. Not for me, for himself. I came to strap to a gurney in some kind of service hallway. Fluorescent lights blinked like dying stars. Someone tapped my goggles. It was Crowsneck again, but his hands were bloody and trembling. "We're leaving," he whispered. "Now. Before they put us under for real." A crash echoed behind us, bone snapping, something wet dragging. Crowsneck jerked his head. "Move." The crawlers were right behind, crawling over each other. Too many arms, too many joints bending in ways that make bones scream. He dragged the gurney toward an exit sign glowing red like an open wound. We barreled into a larger ward, hundreds of patients strapped to beds, all wearing goggles, eyes bulging, panting like trapped animals. Every single one stared upward. The ceiling writhed. "Don't look," Crowsneck hissed. But the goggles made me. They forced my head up. Something enormous peeled itself down from the shadows. A mother crawler's. Limbs long enough to touch every bed at once. It clicked its jaws, amused. One voice, maybe in my head, whispered, "We see you." Lights exploded. Screams synchronized. The mother crawler dropped. I sprinted. Goggles fogged with tears. Doors slammed on their own. Walls pulsed like lungs. The whole asylum felt alive. My legs failed. I fell onto cold hardwood, blood smearing beneath me. My face slammed down so hard the goggles cracked, but didn't break. I heard claws on the ceiling and a soft whisper at my neck. "You're not dreaming." I forced myself to look up. Something smiled down at me. Jagged limbs, ink black skin, eyes shining like headlights. It leaned closer to the goggles and whispered, Wake up so we can really play." The screen inside the goggles flickered, loading something. Level 2, Facility Simulation, Real Mode Enabled. No exit. No escape. No idea which part of this is real anymore. But one thing is crystal clear. That creature isn't behind the glass anymore. It's right in front of me. The crawlers vanished, just blinked out, like the headset shut them off. But something new switched on. A soft voice piped through the speakers. "Congratulations. Emotional response high. Fear index 87%. Proceed." I punched the goggles, but they didn't budge. My breath fogged the inside, making me feel like I was suffocating inside a fishbowl of terror. A hidden door slammed open. 2 orderlies in helmets stormed in. They weren't alone. The walls writhed behind them. The crawlers followed all the time, but only I could see them. The voice whispered, "Zero. They love the way you panic." They dragged me down a stairwell so steep it felt like a descent straight into hell. Metal doors slammed, locks clicked, damp concrete replaced peeling paint. "This one's contaminated." One orderly grunted. The goggles bonded too fast. Contaminated? Bonded? My wrist restraints cut into my skin as I thrashed. Suddenly, something yanked the orderly backwards, legs kicking, helmet scraping the floor. He screamed only once. His partner bolted, leaving me alone with the thing. Crazy Sea Stories. If you like these stories, subscribe for more. I rolled off the gurney and crawled, ribs screaming, toward a flickering light. I entered a huge chamber full of metal cribs, not for babies, for adults. Bodies twitched inside them, strapped down, goggles welded to their skulls. Drool, blood, and God knows what dripped to the floor. One man's voice cracked. They train us to dream the same dream, and feed from the pieces left awake. Something skittered high above. Another patient hissed, "Don't! Look! Up!" I looked up anyway. There it was, the ceiling monster, Mother Crawler, waiting. She lowered a single clawed limb and traced letters across the goggles like she was writing in steam. "Hello, Elijah. That's my name." "How do you—" I choked. She tapped the glass. The voice in the headset purred. "Joe, we've known you since you closed your eyes the first time." Every crib around me rattled with panic. One patient screamed. "They pick the ones who see too much." The goggles glitched. My vision shattered into static. The walls dissolved like wet paper. A new room phased in. Sterile, white, clean. Doctors in lab coats, clipboards, smiles. Except their shadows didn't match their bodies. One doctor leaned in close, too close. "We're almost done installing you." "Installing?" I muttered. He smiled wider. Far too wide. "The crawlers are our surgeons, dear boy. They open the places in your mind we aren't allowed to touch." Behind him, a shadow crawled into his mouth. Sparks. Smoke. The goggles rebooted. Error. Fear. Index exceeded resetting safety. Locks. Suddenly, I could move. Fully. I shoved the doctor aside and stole his ID card as he shrieked. Throat bulging like something inside was trying to get out. Sprinted down a corridor. Doors slammed open and shut on their own, like the building was laughing at me. Alarms blared. 0. Patient has exited simulation. Deploy containment. I burst through a final set of doors and froze. Same asylum, same walls, but this version was worse. Floors soaked, lights dim, everywhere. Bones. Patients sat against the walls. Headsets fused into their faces, making expressions stuck in silent screams. I ripped off a headset from a nearby body and saw what was underneath. No eyes, just black tunnels. The crawlers didn't disappear. They moved inside, steps behind me, crow's neck. But his voice was different now. Hollow. You're almost there, Elijah. One last decision. What decision? I stuttered. He pointed to my goggles. Put them back on, or they'll pry you open the slow way. I felt claws touch the back of my skull. Cold, patient, hungry. The facility voice whispered its final command. 0. Look through us, or let them look through you. I started to scream. I didn't put the goggles back on. Not yet. The crawlers circled behind me like sharks deciding when to bite. Crow's Neck tilted his head, bones cracking. You're leaking, he whispered. I looked down. Blood dripped from my ears. The facility voice buzzed, but now it sounded scared. Yo. Unauthorized reality. Please return to simulation view. Everything flickered, walls glitching like a broken TV channel. Am I seeing the truth? Or losing my mind? Maybe those are the same thing. The world around me split into two overlapping videos. One side, sterile hospital, doctors yelling. Other, decayed hell. Crawling things everywhere, they blended and tore apart. Reality lagged. An orderly ran toward me holding a tranquilizer gun. But in the other version, his face was missing. Skin dangling. Both shouted, "Stop!" But their voices were playing backwards. I froze. Maybe I'm the broken one. Maybe the goggles were the only thing keeping me grounded. A crawling sound behind me. I turned. Nothing. But a voice whispered inside my head. They can only move when you look away. I spun again. The shadow jumped closer. Another whisper. And when you blink. My eyes burned. I couldn't keep them open much longer. Blood streaked down my cheeks. I wasn't crying. My eyes were tearing themselves apart. I finally blinked and felt claws curl around my throat. When I opened my eyes, I was in a chair. Arms strapped, goggles gone. A doctor sat across from me with a clipboard and a calm smile. Elijah, you've had another episode, he said softly. Where do you think you are right now? Every cell in my body screamed to run. Instead, I croaked, the asylum, the crawlers, you people. He sighed. You checked yourself into Crescent Pines 3 days ago after a delusional breakdown. He tapped the file. You keep imagining the goggles. They're not real. My pulse roared in my skull. What if he's right? What if I invented everything? He leaned forward, voice gentle. You're safe now, Elijah. There's nothing on the... His eyes darted to the wall. Widened. A crawler peeled itself down behind him. He didn't notice. Ceiling, he finished. I laughed. Or screamed. Maybe both. The doctor blinked. and for a fraction of a second, his shadow crawled. He forced a smile, papers shaking in his hands. Elijah, do you see something? Maybe, I whispered. The lights flickered, the room pixelated. The doctor whispered like a frightened child. What's real for you right now? His question burrowed inside me like a worm. Do I believe the monsters? Or the medicine? As if responding, the ceiling creature spoke. Believe us. We've never lied. The doctor whispered. Elijah, please, don't slip again. My head throbbed, 2 worlds fighting over me. Doctors begging me to trust them. Crawlers offering truth through terror. Both worlds overlapped again. The doctor now had a crawler's face glitching behind his own. They spoke together. Choose. What if both realities were lies? What if the real prison was the question itself? I stared at the ceiling creature and whispered, I choose neither. The room tore apart like wet paper. I'm somewhere new, a black void with floating doors all cracked open. The goggles lie at my feet, smashed. Inside the shattered glass, my own eyes stare back at me. A final whisper. Oh, congratulations, Elijah. The mother crawler rose from the dark. She's enormous, beautiful, wrong. Her many voices spoke. You're finally seeing without seeing. I stumbled back. There's no getting out, is there? She smiled through 1,000 teeth. You left the Asylum. One door glowed brighter than the rest, painted hospital white. Another dripped blood walls of the nightmare asylum. A third door pulsed like a heartbeat, unknown. The mother crawler pointed. Choose a door, Elijah. Where do they go? I asked. She laughed, echoing like a dying machine. They all lead back to you. I stepped forward, hand shaking, toward a door I couldn't even describe. Before I pushed it open, I realized the worst truth of all. I had no idea if my eyes were open or still behind the goggles. Darkness. No end. Because Elijah doesn't wake up. And neither do we. Crazy Sea Stories. If you like these stories, subscribe for more.